Hello, everyone, again, and welcome to the Event Playbook Coffee Chat series. In this series, we are going to be joined by a wonderful event manager and a research and innovation officer called Adiza Alhassan. Now, Adiza is a seasoned research and innovation officer at Ghana Water Limited, and she shows a strong dedication to advancing technological frontiers. Aside her professional commitments, she also actively champions initiatives that are geared towards enhancing the presence of women in technology. She has now served as a programs lead at Divas in AI and Women Techmakers Ambassador for Accra, Ghana. Adiza devotes her time to mentoring and equipping women with essential web development skills, artificial intelligence skills, also fostering a more inclusive tech landscape. In this conversation, Adiza and I are going to be talking about event partnerships. And this is very important because for every event, partnerships are a really vital part. For partnerships, they can either come in form of speakers, volunteers, sponsors, and other stakeholders connected to make the event become successful. For the next few minutes, you're going to be watching the conversation between Adiza and I, and we're going to be talking about how partnerships shape events. We're going to unpack all the different aspects of event partnerships, and I can't wait for you to hear the wonderful conversation. See you inside. Welcome back to my channel. Hi, Adiza. Thank you so much for joining the conversation today. It's lovely to have you here.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kando. You're actually looking good. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Looking good too. All right. So just before we start, although I have done an introduction, it would be nice if we also get to hear from you. So you can please introduce yourself and then we'll go on to the discussion for today.
Oh, okay. So thank you so much. Hi, everyone. My name is Adiza Alhassan. I am the co-founder for Youth in AI. I have also co-led Divas in AI. I have I'm currently volunteer a lot with GDG Accra, and these are some of the things that I have been doing in terms of program organization space. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. And this is very vital because our conversation is going to be centered on event partnerships. We're going to discuss how partnership shape events and how collaborations can intentionally create the right ecosystem around programs and around events. And it's great that I'm having this conversation with you. Okay, so there are a couple of questions that I'm going to be asking with regard to this. And the first is when you think of your first event or any event at all, what role did partnerships play for that particular event?
Okay, thank you for that question. So I would say I have had my fair share of organizing programs, and as you organize program, you definitely need partnerships for such programs. And one thing that I realized about partnership is that partnership really plays a huge role in organizing a program. Honestly, sometimes it can actually break or make your program because through partnership you can be able to get your speakers, you can be able to get sponsorship, you can even like attract the right audience for your program. So definitely partnership is something that is really needed when you organize your programs. Yeah.
All right. Thank you for mentioning that. I also like to describe partnerships as the lifeblood of every event because it
Yeah.
doesn't just come as partner sponsors, for example, people who would provide monetary value for the event. It can also come in form of the volunteers, those who would assist you to make sure everything goes right. It can also come in form of the speakers. So all of this put together are the lifeblood of every event. And honestly, without partners, or stakeholders in whatever form they come. Without these different stakeholders, it is not possible to have a successful event. So I really do agree with you on that point. Um, so now the second one now goes into breaking down each of these partners or each of these stakeholders. How do you decide who to bring into your event as a partner or as a stakeholder? How do you decide who to bring into the ecosystem? For example, for speakers, for volunteers, for sponsors, how do you decide what role each of these partners play for any event you're organizing?
Yeah, thank you so much. I really liked it when you really defined that partnership doesn't only rely on sponsorship, but having volunteers as well is an essential part of partnership. So I think one of the things that we usually do for the ecosystem is we usually find people who align with what we are currently doing in terms of speakers, volunteers, sponsors, or even vendors. So alignment in terms of what they are doing, does it go on with what we are actually doing? So I'll give you a simple scenario here. A simple scenario here is when we are going to organize programs, we definitely need speakers. And so when we are sorting out for speakers, we look for speakers that align with our team. So through that, we are able to know that this particular person is someone who is really vested in that content. And also how we are able to decide sometimes we also get referral from colleagues, friends that organize their programs and be like, oh, this particular person is very good in this particular thing. And also maybe this particular institution usually have are willing to sponsor others. So it's also, apart from aligning with what we are doing, it also boils down on referrals because referrals are very, very key when it comes to bringing people in your ecosystem. And I think the last thing I'll end is with that. We sometimes do code rich because sometimes your immediate friends or immediate people that you know do not have access to that one particular speaker or one particular sponsor. So we sometimes do code which sometimes it does work, sometimes it doesn't work at all. So yeah, that's what I would say when it comes to how we decide to bring people in the ecosystem.
Yeah, that works. That works. I especially like that you started off with saying it has to first be that either the speaker or anyone at all who's coming in has to align with the event team, right? It has to properly align because, for example, if you're organizing a tech event and it is for a finance company. It would not be great if you invite a speaker who does entertainment or a speaker who does just something abstract. They have to be speakers who align with the event team so that whatever they are communicating to the audience, they will be able to grasp that very well. Also, with sponsors, I've had my fair share as well of the cold outreaches because most times when organizing events, you have people in mind that you want to reach out to who would be willing to sponsor, but at the end of the day they also have other things they are dealing with and they would not just be available to sponsor. We've also been very fortunate to have persons who just come out of the blue and say, hey, I saw this event you're organizing and I think I want to be a sponsor, I think I want to contribute to it. And at that point you might even take anything they bring, because those persons you're reaching out to who would bring something much larger um are not available. And so one thing I think you did not exactly touch on was on the part of volunteers. How do you decide who joins as a partner, as a stakeholder, as a volunteer during your event? How do you make that decision? So what I'm asking is, what's the breakdown? How do you thoroughly engage them and just make sure that they are playing the right role for your event?
Yeah, thank you for that question. So when it comes to volunteers, the way that we usually sort out for, just like I said, reference, sometimes a colleague will be like, oh, this particular person wants to volunteer with you. And so we have a form whereby we say, oh, you can fill the form. So within this form, we have the various positions that you can volunteer. So from marketing to design, if you can be able to design a flyer, or you can be able to reach out to people, partnership. So we usually have all of that. So they register for it, and we sometimes it's not a lot. So we work with what we have, and sometimes when it's we get a lot of people, that's when we try to sieve out. And sieving out comes in when we want to give other people also opportunities. So I think one of organizations that I volunteer as well, the way they do is each and every year we have a whole new volunteer, a whole new people volunteering. So this year we have different people. So the next time that we are organizing a program, it wouldn't be the same people. So in this case, you sometimes not only get to interact with new people, it gives you access to a lot of people joining your community. So these are the ways that we manage when it comes to working with volunteers. Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes they actually say, oh, I want to volunteer. But at the end of the day, when you assign them the job, you have to be on them. Have you done this? Have you done that? Have you done that? But it all comes with the work. So we are in it.
Yes, I totally relate. I totally relate. I feel like everyone who has successfully managed a group of volunteers for every event deserves an award because it's one thing for you to be the idea carrier or the organizer in this case, and it's another thing for you to carry that same idea and push it on to the volunteers to make sure that the activity goes on well. One thing that I have done so far is to try to use the same people for every event. I know that it is not I want to say it is not encouraged so much because other people should also have an opportunity to volunteer. But I feel like I've gotten a better grasp at, helping these people to understand what to do. And so sometimes when I want new persons, I start thinking of the stress that goes into training them again, right? But I also try to make rooms for that by not assigning the new people, the core things that I want to keep an eye on. For example, um, I want to keep an eye on speaker management. I want to keep an eye on the event hall management. If I'm in a virtual location and I have volunteers who are handling that, I want those who have trained to handle that. And then other things like social media tasks, design tasks, I can now give it to all the new persons who are joining. So that also helps me provide more opportunity to new people, and then also helps me just have a clear head with the ones that I have trained already who are making it work. So managing volunteers is a skill on its own, but it's great that you've broken this down on how you accept volunteers. I also do like a call for volunteers, but then what I do is, like I said earlier, I just make a list of the things that I want the new volunteers to keep an eye on. And so when those new ones come, they can now start working on those external tasks. But yeah, that's great. Okay. We've now talked about how we decide speakers, volunteers, sponsors. That's great. But then another thing comes to, I think this is more around sponsors itself. How do you balance partnership expectations with the overall event purpose? I'll give an example. So a sponsor, we probably have tiers for sponsors: gold, silver, and bronze. So you have the things that you want to give to them as partners, and they also have their own expectations. So how do you balance partnership expectations with the overall event you're organizing and the things that you can give? How do you make that work?
I think that's very, very interesting question, because that's one key thing that usually has some misunderstanding when the communication is not really there. So one of the key overall purpose is to be able to make it clear, like more of like the communication has to be very clear from the very beginning, because sometimes you have this your bonds, you have the gold, but sometimes they come in and they sometimes give you things that doesn't align with what you have. So in this case, where do they fall?
Mm.
So that's where I say that there has to be communication. The communication has to be clear. So for partnership, I think it's very, very important to consider a win-win situation, because both of you are trying to get something from each other. So is it maybe from their side they want to get access to your community from your members? So they are looking at getting that number of people. And from your side too, you are trying to get something from them, either sponsorship or speakers or um, getting mentors for your community, any one of them. So for me, sometimes I try to make sure that the communication is very, very clear. And also with the second thing is it has to really, really align with what you are doing. Aligning is very, very key, and also very, very transparent. You need to tell them, maybe let's say if you have your budget and this is the particular thing you want, please be like transparent with them. This is the amount maybe we have gotten at this moment, and this is what we need, or this is the location we want. Or you have to be transparent in communication. I think that will be very, very key when it comes to um balancing your partnership and expectations overall. Yeah.
That's great. Thanks for mentioning. I think it clearly answers the question because communication is the very important thing. Sometimes even if you tell them, okay, if you're a bronze sponsor, you get 15 minutes talk time. You get your logo on our social platforms, and you can set up a booth. So sometimes when they now come on stage, they want 30 minutes talk time. They want to have three different booths in the three entrances of the hall, you know, or just because they are sponsors. And that's why communication is really important. Sometimes when event managers do not do a good job in telling them this is how this should happen, this is what you'll get because of what you're giving us. We know that we want this money, we know that we want to make our event better, but at the end of the day, this is what we can give you in return for this money. And some persons also go out of their way to even request more things even before the funds come. And it just makes it really messy. So clear communication from the start, telling them this is how it works, this is what you're going to get if you give us this and this. That makes it really easy for everyone to be on the same page. And then when they start to defy that, then you know you're not the one in the wrong this time, it's them. An example is sometime at an event. So just because the hub that was part of the event, not part of the event per se, just because they were in the location, um the hubs will have an opportunity to like come and pitch and get more members to themselves. They now wanted to use the stage as another opportunity to present certificates to their hub members. So it was like a grand this was during the fest, by the way. So it was like a grand closure to the hub activities. But it was different from what Defense was about. We are just giving you an opportunity so that the audience knows, oh, that these tech hubs are available here so they can go to these places. But you now using that opportunity as a way to have like a grand hub closure, that was not part of the plan. And so we had to like diligently walk them out of the stage. It caused a bit of trouble, but it's great that everyone just knew what to do. The communication was clear. And so when one party starts to defy what is said, then some measures have to be taken. But yeah, um making sure that everyone is aligned, making sure that communication is there, making sure that the delivery is also on point. They have to be proactive. They have to know that they also have to fulfill their own end of the bargain and not trying to request something else. But I think humans will be human. Sometimes these things go overboard, but
Yeah.
eh,
I can imagine what you guys went through. That would sometimes somewhere it could be even chaotic, trying to align them and be like, oh no, this is not what you're supposed to do. I can imagine.
yeah, it was. We made sure that the a large number of the audience did not exactly know what was going on, but we did clear that situation. Yeah. Okay, it's been a few minutes of wonderful conversation. Um, but then we are just going to the wrap up to the end of this conversation. Now, for event managers or program managers, how can they ensure that they maintain healthy relationships beyond a single program, especially when it has to do with sponsors like this? For example, this hub I give as an example. We are still in talking terms, right? But if it was very chaotic, then it may have caused an unhealthy relationship. But then beyond one single event where you know that maybe this person is a new sponsor, is a new partner, how can event managers and program managers maintain a healthy relationship beyond that one event where you're working with new stakeholders or new partners?
So it's sometimes boils on genuine connection. Sometimes as you reach out to sponsors, you are hoping that you still stay in touch, and whenever you have programs, you get in touch with them and they would be willing to sponsor. So it depends on how you manage them once the D-Day comes in, because sometimes some managers sponsorship when they come for the program, no recognition, things that you have promised that you were going to give them on that day, all of those things are not there. And sometimes even after the program, thanking them, thank you for coming, all of those things are very, very key in terms of keeping up with your partners. Sometimes you do have genuine connection, but how do you keep up with the connection? That's the main issue. And so it's very, very important to keep in touch with them. Sometimes you would, so we have most of our sponsors and partners. Sometimes we do send them um like whenever we have opportunities to mentor, we sometimes send it to them to more of like have like at their back of mind that we are still here and we are not going anywhere. So all of those things has to be there, and sometimes showing appreciation and doing that continuously is very, very key. And always remind them that you would always be coming back, and so putting it at the back of their mind that there is some kind of continuity, not only the current partnership, but you are looking for more and more. So yeah, that's what I'll say.
Thank you for sharing that. And just to add, I think one other thing that is really important to do is maybe just give them a breakdown of how the event went, probably how their funding was used, how the audience reacted to the things that they said. If there are snapshots or like a feedback form that was sent out, anything that the audience said about them, that would also be great to help them have a good feeling, and they'll be willing to partner with you again and be willing to come on board whenever another event is going on. Okay, you've clearly summed it up. Those are really great points. So now, just to wrap up the conversation, is there anything you think event managers can do better when it comes to partnerships for events, or program managers? Anything at all you'd like to just say to close out?
Yeah, so I would say to event managers, be patient because it's really, really um, requires patience. Currently, I'm organizing our annual event, and I tell you, getting to sending emails, trying to get to them, all of those things are very, very important, but it requires patience and keep showing up because it's not going to be easy. But I think since you are looking to make the impact, do what you want to do, is going to be beneficial at the end of the day. Yeah, that's all I have.
Thank you. Thank you for mentioning that. Something else I would also like to add is that partnership is not about numbers, how much you are able to get from the sponsors, how much you're able to get from the partners. It's also about building relationships, right? Especially on the part of volunteers. It's also about letting them know that you are a good leader. They can do what you want them to do. They are great at what they do, keeping that relationship healthy, and also keeping the relationship with the sponsors healthy as well. Like we've talked about previously, just something as simple as giving them a breakdown of how the event went and just letting them have a good feeling about what they did. That is also great. So yeah, I think that sums it up. It's been a really wonderful conversation, and it's great to hear from you, to learn insights from you as well. Thank you.
It's really, really good to have these conversations. These are the conversations that we really have to be talking about because sometimes you think organizing volunteers and getting programs done is not a skill, but it's something that really, really needs skill sets. You have to be resilient, you have to be patient because you've been working with people, and sometimes things that you plan wouldn't go your way. How do you try to readjust at that moment and get things done? Is something that has to be learned. And I think if you organize program, you will definitely get that skill set. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for adding that last part. And it's my favorite as well. Working with a lot of people all the time, organizing event just lets you know that it's a skill really. If anyone wants to
Yes.
go far in doing a lot more events, they have to clearly have empathy, patience, like you've mentioned. These are skills that are very important for event management. Thank you. Okay, and for anyone who would like to connect with you, would you like to share where we can reach you, or if there are any questions, how can we get to connect with you?
So you can find me on LinkedIn as Adiza Alhassan. You can find me on YouTube as well. I'm on Twitter, I'm on X, I'm on TikTok, I'm everywhere. So just Adiza Alhassan and you find me.
All right. Thank you so much, Adiza. Thank you so much for your time. More coffee chats like this are still coming up. There are two more that will be done to wrap up this and before the launch of the ebook. So thank you for watching, and bye.
Bye bye.